Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Relief Factor Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
And we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. All right, here we go. Tuesday's show. You know, I don't know where to start out. You know, we got to start out with some of the interesting stuff that may not be at the top of the news, just because it's really interesting.
Yeah, all right.
Reading an article that Great Britain is looking to replace on their currency many of their great leaders like Winston Churchill and putting on wildlife instead.
Yeah.
So, of
right.
course, with the diversity movement in Great Britain, it's like, well, who's going to figure out the wildlife? It just can't be the ones that people think are cute. We need to consider all wildlife. So there is actually a proposal out there. Now, it hasn't been finalized. A proposal to have a rat on the currency in Great Britain.
I go for that.
On the pound.
Can't all be ferrets and bunnies.
Yes. Can't be bunnies or, well, they can't use eagles.
Yeah.
Nobody can use an eagle because that would represent the
No,
United
we'd have to
States.
invade them and take them over.
So it's actually talked about rats.
I'd go for that. Please make that happen.
And then somebody had to bring up rats are not native to Great Britain, apparently.
Doesn't matter.
And I'm like, aren't rats native to everywhere?
It's going to look cool on the bill. Go ahead, do it.
Right.
Put it on the currency.
And we're not talking RATT.
Yeah, no, not the band.
Not the band.
No, not the band from the 80s. No.
Oh, my gosh.
That's only currency on a cruise ship.
You know, when I saw over the weekend, and just never got a chance to talk about it, that Paul Ehrlich died last Friday, 93 years of age. Huge when I was growing up. Huge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, seriously, the first Earth Day probably is because of the book that he wrote in 1968, which was The Population Bomb.
Mm-hmm.
The first Earth Day. I mean, to me, he was the father of not only the environmental movement, but the wacko environmental movement.
Yeah.
And this is him even still in 2023. Let me play. He was on 60 Minutes. I believe that we played this at the time and went, my God, he's been so wrong.
We did.
Yeah.
Because it went on for days. I think there were a couple of cuts that came out that week and that we played them, and it was like, wait, it's been going on for years, and he's been wrong every time.
Right. Somebody, I was going through social media, and there was a check.
Yeah.
And it was a check for like $500 and something.
Huh.
And it was somebody who made a bet with him where, it was one of his, doomsday scenarios, what was going to happen when that day came along, and it didn't happen.
Right.
Ehrlich wrote him a check for $575, which was the amount of the bet plus interest over the years.
Oh, all right.
And it said, it was written underneath it, probably one of the most important checks ever written.
Yeah, right. You want to frame that one.
But here he is. This is back in 2023. When I first saw this, I'm playing this, and I'm like, I don't know why I forgot that we had talked about it in 2023, and then it came back to me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is really interesting. It's a widescreen, and it's in color. Because I'm thinking the stuff he's saying is so wrong. I forgot that he said the same stuff in 2023. I thought this was back from 1971 or something.
Even after it was proven wrong,
right,
repeatedly, he was still saying it in 23.
Right. And I thought they might have cleaned this up, in a digital form. It's like, well, no, this is. And I'm looking right in the corner. It says 2023. It's right there in 2023. I'm like, oh, this was. Wait a minute, we talked about this on the show.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Too many people, too much consumption, and growth mania.
At the age of 90,
Biologist Paul Ehrlich may have lived long enough to see some of his dire prophecies come true.
You seem to be saying that humanity is not sustainable.
No, humanity is not sustainable. To maintain our lifestyle, yours and mine, basically, for the entire planet, you'd need 5 more Earths. Not clear where they're going to come from.
Just in terms of the resources that would be required.
Resources that would be required, the systems that support our lives, which of course are the biodiversity that we're wiping out. Humanity is very busily sitting on a limb that we're sawing off.
And where he said, that, some of the things that he has said have come true already, I don't know what the hell he was talking about.
Yeah, the intro. Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, and we had criticized it at the time. We're
Right,
like,
right.
wait a minute.
Right.
Which is why we're happy Barry Weiss is at CBS.
Exactly.
But central to Ehrlich's thesis, this is from National Review, in his book, The Population Bomb, that he wrote in 1968, was his contention that the Earth had a finite carrying capacity and its limits were already being tested by the mid-20th century. So we're talking by 1950, he's saying that.
Right, yeah.
Humanity would soon have to ration its resources and consign those for whom it could no longer care to triage. His narrative fired the imaginations of the international environmental left, but he seemed compelled to forever up the ante on his dire predictions. He anticipated that by 1980, now this is back in 1968, and then he kept talking because he was all over the place. I had him interviewed everywhere. And this is where really the wacko environmental left started. He said that by 1980, the average American lifespan would decline to just 42 years of age. I mean, you couldn't be. It's like the modern wacko environmental movement was created by somebody who was wrong on all of his predictions.
Yeah, literally all throughout his years.
And we had said a couple years ago, probably maybe 20 years ago, 30, I can't remember, when I started saying it, but I went, when you propose a hypothesis over and over again, which changed, it's interesting, but when you hear Democrats now talking about, I mentioned this to you in our pre-show meeting, well, all this money we're spending on defense and wars and everything else. Think of the trillions we've wasted over the last half century on the wacko leftist environmental movement.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, the cost, and it's a compounding cost. If you think about the cost of all industry, what industry had to do based on regulation, and how that's passed along, and every industry basically had to comply. That's a compounding cost. It's a lot like, and maybe even worse than, the VAT tax. And it's hidden. And yet we keep voting for people who want to keep doing this. I mean, look at what, just in recent years, look at what some of the EV mandates and some of the power mandates that were put in place by radical leftists like Newsom, Biden, and others. Look at the cost of those and what it did to industry. The OEMs came back on EVs and said, we got to quit making them. We can't be competitive. We can't survive by doing this.
So the lifespan would be 42 years of age in 1980. Most of the people who are going to die in the in the history of man have already been born, he wrote in 1969. The death rate will increase until at least 100 to 200 million people per year will be starving to death in the next 10 years. That was in 1969. He declared the following year in 1970. By 1971, he was willing to take even money that England will not exist in the year 2000. That might have been the bet for the check. I'm not
right.
sure.
Yeah.
Roughly 100 to 200 million people would die of starvation between 1980 and 1989 in what he deemed the Great Die-Off. his allies will concede, yeah, he got some things wrong, but the gist of his work still rang true. No, it didn't.
No. Where?
Population growth, along with the overconsumption per capita, is driving civilization over the edge. He told The Guardian as recently as 2018, billions of people are now hungry or micronutrient malnourished, and climate disruption is killing people. With the confidence of a Marxist economist, Ehrlich never questioned his faith in where humanity's addiction to prosperity was taking it. As I've said many times, perpetual growth is the creed of the cancer cell, he said. Ehrlich's work left much misery in his wake. Even as Ehrlich's supporters will admit, his theories lent support to racist attitudes for population control. Population bombers encouraged the promotion of abortion in places like sub-Saharan Africa and the Indian subcontinent. Overpopulation as a theory justified some of the worst eugenist abuses of the human species since World War II. Abuses in the United States was very much a participant. The large number of sterilizations began in earnest in 1966 when Medicaid came into existence and funded the operation for low-income people. The author Angela Franks wrote, indeed, by 1977, up to 1/4 of Native American women had undergone sterilization, she wrote. A program of voluntary sterilization of Puerto Ricans in the 1960s unfolded the same way. Ehrlich's primary contention that the human race is more or less doomed continues to inform the work of today's environmentalist. The various United Nations appendages that routinely warn us that our species' imminent collapse a decade or so on from whenever the last report was published lean on Ehrlich's theories. The professor's legacy inspired a 2018 initiative by a collection of bioethicists to rehabilitate the population bomb in the pages of the Washington Post. As recently as 2023, CBS's 60 Minutes, as we just played, lent its platform to Ehrlich to promote groundless doomsday scenarios. The next few decades will be the end of the kind of civilization we're used to, he told a credulous Scott Pelley, who didn't really fight back as we see it all.
No.
Ehrlich never questioned his conclusions and refused to repent for the suffering that they produced. And think about it. That's to me, because I remember he was, when I was, this goes back, we're talking, over a half century ago. Mm-hmm. This goes back to when he was throwing out his garbage at in 1968.
Yeah, right.
Everything. I mean, that was all, that was all part of the thing that we're doomed. And it really didn't matter if we're going to lose hundreds of millions of people, billions of people in the world due to starvation, because by the time we got to the year 1999, we'd all be working 2 or 3 day work weeks to begin with.
Right. Yeah.
By the way, that never happened.
No, it didn't. And in 1989, when they sat on Capitol Hill and said, by the year 2000, if you work in the belt inside the Beltway in D.C., you're going to have to take a gondola to work. That was they don't. By the way, they only put 11 years on that clock, that false clock. That was 1989. And remember, it came out later that they went in and turned off the air conditioning in that room to make it a little warmer, which, by the way, is the advice that in later years, we didn't learn that until somebody came out with it after we had been saying, listen, quit going to these places in the winter where it's 24 below zero. Nobody can get in for the ice, and you're doing a global warming summit.
Yeah.
You got to go to Augusta, Georgia, in late August inside an old theater that hasn't been used in, 200 years and has no air conditioning, and have everybody wear wool suits. Then you can sit and promote your global warming. And they actually did that on Capitol Hill in 1989. They turned the air conditioner down to make it a little sweatier in the room.
Well, what I find really incredible is the way that they go. For example, it's like, in 1968 when he wrote the book. I mean, it was just all over the place. Then the early 70s and Earth Day, and we need to save the planet, and then global warming, global cooling, which then became global warming, which then became climate change,
and then
which then became climate disruption, climate chaos, whatever.
Temporarily displaced climate. Remember that one?
and then Al Gore's predictions, all of which never come true. And we ask the question, when you continually promote doomsday scenarios that never come true, when is it legitimate to question your scenarios when you've been wrong every single time?
They never show up for a debate.
No, they would never show up for a debate.
Remember the time that there was going to be this big global debate, and we said, look, don't listen to Eric and Gary. Get the scientists from one side to sit across from the scientists on the other and have the debate based on data. Period. And they were going to have that, and they canceled at the last minute.
Well, and then, Republicans jumped aboard. Remember, was it, I'm trying to think, what was it, 2007? When Bush signed the ethanol mandate?
Yeah. Oh, you could go back to his father,
right.
I think, that would have been 91? Did Bush 41 sign? This has been going on for years.
Well,
where
it was like December of 2007.
Yeah.
That he signed the ethanol mandate the Democrats want. We were screaming, and of course, the ethanol industry was on our case.
Right.
And we said, look, from farm to tank, you're probably producing more global warming gases in producing everything that you need to produce to do that.
Yeah.
We still have it today. We still can't get rid of it because it's a subsidy which will never end.
It's a political football that only gets bigger.
Right. And Al Gore admitted he lied about it.
Yep.
Later on.
Yep. Because he was running for president.
Then Newt Gingrich sitting on the
couch.
stupid bench or whatever it was with Nancy Pelosi saying, we need to call Congress about climate change and everything else. And it was just like, my God.
Yeah.
It was like the momentum starts moving, even though it's the big lie.
Right.
It's hypothesis that they can't prove. Doesn't matter. We are Red Eye Radio.
Brought to you by Hot Shot Secret.
Hi, I'm Jen Loomis, a transport safety expert at J.J. Keller. At a roadside inspection, inspectors may ask to see supporting documents. These documents can include bills of lading, itineraries, schedules, or equivalent documents that indicate the origin and destination of each trip. They can also include dispatch or trip records, expense receipts related to on-duty/not driving periods, electronic mobile communication transmitted through a fleet management system, and payroll records, settlement sheets, or equivalent documents that indicate payment to a driver. Drivers using paper logs must also keep toll receipts. Supporting documents must contain the driver's name, carrier-assigned identification number, or vehicle unit number that can be linked to the driver, the date, the name of the nearest city, town, or village, and the time. This tip was brought to you by J.J. Keller & Associates. Visit us at jjkeller.com.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Look, we know there's a ton of other current event stories out there, but I thought it was worth talking about, Paul Ehrlich, who died at age 93 last Friday, really, and I look at him as the father of the modern, insane, wacko environmentalist left movement in this country. Just the predictions that he made and where it took us. That the fact that we, even in the United States and the world, live in a society that will run on fear.
Yes. The world is going to end.
That has no basis in credibility at all.
Right.
Catch Red Eye Radio live every night on the Red Eye Radio app, available in the App Store. Red Eye Radio.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today, and you can listen when and where you choose. I just saw this here from the New York Post. Fans were shocked on Monday when photos of Hollywood's Dolby Theater hit social media, showing how Hollywood's A-list celebrities who consistently cry about climate change and environmental issues left the theater looking like a pigsty. A photo of the theater shows mounds of trash, including water bottles, snack bags, and food debris, and papers and programs, sparked a backlash among fans, the New York Post reported. I have the feeling, though, they aren't fans of Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm guessing
they're reporting that.
Not.
Yes,
I
would
the fans just let it slide.
Yeah, the fans would let it slide. I believe these are not fans. I believe these would be critics of the liberal left.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, single-use water bottles.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Now,
in L.A.?
Those are banned in parts of California.
Wow.
I don't even know how they... Well, I'm sorry. They're rich. They're elite. Never mind. Carry on. Single use. Not even single use. They just order it and then never use it and just throw it away. Zero use.
Oh, where was...
I mean, it's... Which tells you what? Everyone says, well, they're hypocrites. No. That's not the big thing. They don't believe the science. They don't believe in what they're peddling to you up there on the stage when they're crying over their trophy they just won. Wow.
Oh, this is
what a group of children.
Since we're talking Hollywood. I mean, when I first see stories like this, I'm like, who cares? But no, it's important because we need to know the mentality.
Yeah.
Actor Jerry O'Connell revealed in a new interview that his wife and their daughters became physical with him after Vice President Kamala Harris lost the 2024 presidential election.
Wow.
If I say this, will I stay married? The Stand By Me actor joked on Bill Maher's Club Random podcast on Monday. O'Connell continued describing the night of the election where he insisted that he did not believe President Donald Trump would win. However, he recalled making offhand remarks to his family during the night. I said something along the lines of, there was no planning. This is what they get. There should have been a primary. I said something along those lines, like I was just spitballing ideas. It was a shock. My wife and daughters, without saying anything, became physical with me. They were filled with rage.
Wow. Well, for children, that's a learned behavior from adults.
Yep. He continued, so if I'm being careful with you how I say things, yes, I live in California. I live with not one, not two, but three people. If I made any kind of joke, they would become very, very angry with me. Bill Maher responded by saying he could not live this way.
You know what? I don't know how old his daughters are. How old is Jerry O'Connell?
I don't know.
Are his daughters old enough to vote? They might be.
Yeah. It's just.
I find it weird that he was filling in on the morning show in New York City on one of the like ABC 7 or something in New York City. And I didn't know this, but he had filled in with what's the Kelly and whoever's on with Kelly now. And the morning show used to be Regis and Kathy, and now it's Kelly and whoever's on with Kelly. And he filled in there. But when I saw this, there was a story that was out of New York City, and they showed a picture, a thumbnail from the TV station, and Jerry O'Connell was one of the anchors. And I'm like, what happened? What? When did he get in? And it just turned out he was just filling in.
What I find it fascinating. my entire life. Now, when I was younger, the only thing that kept me from putting out my opinion was the fact that I didn't know if I crossed all the T's and dotted the lowercase J's.
Mm-hmm.
That was really it.
Yeah.
But since I have, done this professionally now, can you believe it's almost 44 years doing radio, but 36 years doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, it'll be 36 coming up doing this. People that say they're afraid to give their opinions, yet he goes on opinion shows. Sure, I mean, think about this. I'm going on opinion shows, but I have to be very careful while giving my opinion. Then get off.
Then don't do that.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I just think of it, except for one person, and you know who this person was, who was more of an acquaintance professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Who, I don't know, maybe it was 13 years ago, something like that. Made it clear they were furious at my opinions, but could not articulate what opinions, which made me laugh. I mean, I burst out laughing. It was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I have never felt the need ever. Family, friends, cousins, my aunts and uncles, when the majority of them were alive, I have never felt. Now, I don't go into a strange person's house and start screaming at them.
Oh, I do that. I do that for fun.
But I've never been afraid, ever, to give my opinion to anyone, and I've never lost a friend. I've never lost one friend doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Or a family member, not one.
Yeah.
And I know, and believe me, there are those that disagree with me. But every time we have a discussion, when I explain it to them, well, here's how my thought process came from. They go, oh, yeah, I can understand that. I have friends of mine that claim they are as far left and only watch whatever it is now, MS Now. And when I go through the issues, they go, yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. There are people that have been friends of mine. I mean, I don't associate with them every single day, but a lot of them are people I met in this business that I still communicate with today. And I'll see once every couple of years, and we get into, political discussions that will tell me absolutely they are, I'm far left and all I do is watch MS Now. And when I talk to them, they agree with me on everything. And I really think that they have, when they were young, they claimed that they were liberal. And even though they're not liberal, they claim they're liberal today. And all they watch are liberal shows. But when you actually talk to them and break down the issues, they're not liberal, which blows my mind. How can you be an adult and think you're one thing unless they're afraid to tell me the truth?
Oh, I think a lot of people are.
Would they be afraid to tell me the truth?
I think a lot of people are. I had a neighbor who was clearly on the left, and this happened. This was during the years. There were like several years when some leftists were saying, oh, I'm a libertarian, because they didn't want to say that they were radical left. And you're nowhere near a libertarian. The Libertarian Party isn't libertarian anymore. So you're definitely not a libertarian. And I love that when people try and hide from what they are. Oh, well, no, I'm a libertarian. Now, having said that, you and I also have a hard time finding out other people's definitions of conservative.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because it seems to be a matter of opinion, which it's not. But with some people, they're populist and say that they're more moderate and say they're conservative.
See, I never view myself, and I can understand because I do this, and if people just hear me on the radio or whatever, they go, I'm not going to argue with him. But I actually don't view myself as being intimidating. Maybe I can be on the radio when, you get me angry.
That doesn't take much.
I had to
Hi, Gary. What?
I had to blame you for that. I mean, I've never viewed myself ever as intimidating. And it was interesting because Independent Bob once told me, he said, you don't even know that you're a radio talk show host. He goes, it's like that's a separate thing. He goes, you don't even realize that when you start debating with people, they're like, oh, my God, I can't debate him. He goes, you don't view yourself as Gary McNamara, the talk show host. And I went, and when he said that to me, it actually made sense because I don't. And I think you think the same way. You go home and you start. I called you the other day and you never got back to me until the afternoon because you were out doing your lawn work from 9 until 3.
8 until 3. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, I got it wrong.
Yeah.
An hour.
How dare you?
But and so it's like we live, we're not in the circle of media. We're not inside the beltway. We don't hang around with all media people. We don't go to the Friday and Saturday night parties with, celebrities because we're based in New York or Washington or whatever. And we have neither of us, and we've never really discussed as much, neither of us have any desire to do so.
No.
And so we love doing this. And yes, it's a part of who we are. But when I'm out of here, I don't view myself as an intimidating force to anybody that I'm having any kind of discussion with. And the vast majority of my discussions with people outside the radio show are not what I do on the radio.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, that's actually, I everything that I am on the air, it's just who I am. So it's, there's this thing about back in the day, there was one guy that was a consultant. And he had these seminars, but it was an unwritten rule in radio. You leave it at the door. If there's something going on in your personal life, leave it at the door. Don't take it with you, right? But in talk radio, it becomes something very different. You can't leave. I mean, you leave a lot of things at the door, but you can't leave everything at the door. You've got to bring who you are, I think, because it constitutes what your convictions are. In order for you to come off as somebody with conviction, I think you have to have certain life experiences or knowledge or education or all the above. And it varies by person. I mean, there are some very highly educated individuals in our industry that do a great job, and people have different experiences. And mine is what it is, and I don't want to come off as somebody that I'm not, because I'm not a person that would attend, gatherings and say, oh, I'm just, hanging out with, rubbing elbows with whoever, or, for me, again, it has to be, because I think it's important, it has to be about understanding the foundation of this nation. And it was never the intent of our founders to make it about the elites. Only the elites know. Only the elites can understand. Only the elites get it, and the elites have to teach the common folk. Nope, it wasn't that. It started with the common folk and
the peasants.
Exactly. And, and the meek shall inherit the earth is something that keeps going through my brain, is that it's the everyday people that, I had someone tell me one time, and he's an actor. And he said, I'm an actor and you're on the radio. Our jobs aren't important, which was a gut punch to me. But he said, the people out there, the plumbers, the truckers, the police officers, the nurses, doing all these jobs that are required for a society. Having a full understanding of a society is, I think, required for being here. And I don't want to rub elbows with the elites because, that's not my life, number one. And number two, that doesn't give you the good experience.
We are Red Eye Radio.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. So I just thought that was really interesting when I saw that article about Jerry O'Connell claims, on the Bill Maher podcast that that he's got to be very careful about what he says because his family might get physical with him. Get physical.
Well, it sounds like he wanted her to win, and he wasn't making the argument. He wasn't celebrating that she was losing. That should have been. He was saying there should have been a primary. It should have been better organized and everything else.
They didn't want to hear it.
And by the way, that was what everybody on the left was saying.
Yeah.
After she lost.
Top of the hour news is brought to you by House Products. Visit houseproducts.com.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One. Now, it's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Relief Factor Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for being here. Made it to a Tuesday. It's only Tuesday.
Yeah.
Driving in, I thought it was Wednesday.
Oh, well.
Normally, I like
sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah, normally I like it when it's reversed. When I think it's a Monday and it's a Tuesday.
It's St. Patrick's Day. You know what that means, right?
Oh, look at this.
What do you?
I forgot.
Yeah, what are you wearing there? What do you got? Oh, wow! Green underwear. Put your pants back on, dude.
Well,
no, it's a T-shirt that says Shamrocks and Shenanigans.
Yes.
All right.
And remember, Shamrock is my name in that independent mockumentary.
Right.
Mockumentary.
Mockumentary. Yeah.
Mockumentary.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why.
Yeah.
I haven't done any scenes for that in a while. It's been a month or two since we've done a scene.
All right.
I don't know where it's going yet.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to be whacked or not in the mockumentary.
Yeah.
As the Irish
It's
monster.
a very complicated situation.
Shamrock.
Yeah. Shamrock. He's smart, not like everybody says.
I'm smart, like everybody says.
Like the Ayatollah.
Like the Ayatollah. Oh, okay. So, okay.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. All right.
My gosh.
All
right, you ready? Before you even go.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Babylon B.
Yeah.
Ayatollah disappointed to learn 72 virgins awaiting him in paradise are all women.
Yeah. Well, so the story got out, or should I say the story came out.
It's out of the closet.
That the new Ayatollah, being the deceased Ayatollah's son, is gay, according to intel officials. And that the former Ayatollah didn't want him to be Ayatollah. He actually had picked the former president, who was killed in a helicopter crash last year, Raisi, as the Ayatollah. That was the one. He thought he was going to be the best person to take on the supreme leader job after his passing. Well, Raisi died in a helicopter crash. Immediately, by the way, Israelis said after that crash, said, we didn't do it. We didn't do it. There are some questionable things about that crash, but nonetheless, the former president of Iran died in that crash, and he was apparently the number one pick of the former Ayatollah who died because we killed him. Well, the Ayatollah's son, who, by the way, has not been seen. There haven't been any videos or anything, only statements read by state media and other officials there in Iran, but no video of him. And it's thought that he may have been injured in the initial attack and or might have not, maybe didn't survive those injuries. There's one story that he had to have his leg amputated, and And then the president suggested yesterday or recently, according to reports, that he may not even be alive. So then you get into the, okay, why not him? There was, at first, the mainstream global media was saying because he was too young. And I thought, by the way, Ahmadinejad was another one that was a hardliner that was kind of on the short list of Supreme Leader, maybe not now, but down the road. And Ahmadinejad was also killed another former president was also killed in the initial attack. But then the story came out yesterday, started to really circulate yesterday, that during an intel briefing, the president was told that the new Ayatollah is gay, and that this comes from high-level sources inside the Iranian government. And it's interesting because then CBS had a story yesterday that was along these lines, never mentioned the whole thing about him possibly being gay or rumored to be gay or any of that. They said that his father said he was not smart enough. I'm smart, not like everybody says.
Right.
That he wasn't a bright individual. He didn't have the makings of a supreme leader. And he had other personal problems, is the way CBS News phrased it. Well, this got out, and, it's funny. I said to someone yesterday, I said, this is one of those, and you and I said you said the same thing to me in the pre-show meeting. This is one of those things, whether it's true or not, if he is still alive, this rumor is going to be impossible to disprove. And, of course, in that culture, but especially in that role as Iran's new supreme leader, it is paramount that they do disprove it, but they won't. There's no way to disprove something like this. So it could be complete propaganda. It might or might not be true, but it's one of those things you can't unsee. The culture can't unsee it. The world can't unsee it. And it's always going to remain, again, if he's still alive.
Did your foreign minister say anything about the story not being true?
No, but I would expect it to be rejected by their ministry.
When because when I saw this, I went, "Wow, CIA disinformation." At one, I mean, it might be true. I don't know. I mean, CIA may have picked up on this that inside, the leadership of Iran, they've known this.
Yeah.
And that he is gay. And the whole point would be at that point from the CIA is to take their homophobia and use it against them right at this time where they're like, well, we can't, we know it's true. And now that the world knows it's true, we can't do this. We've got to find somebody else, if he's even alive.
Here's the CBS News version of this, and the important part in the CBS News version of this. This actually goes back to day before. They posted this day before yesterday. But the analysis showed, again, this is from CBSNews.com. The analysis showed the elder Khamenei, the former supreme leader, was wary of his son, the new Ayatollah, ever taking power because he was perceived as not very bright and was viewed as unqualified to be leader, according to sources. The information gathered also indicated that the father was aware that the son had issues in his personal life. And that's as far as they go in the CBS story.
Yeah.
And
well, you would think that in a situation like this, that the personal life outside of something that is absolutely rejected in an Islamic theocracy, that anything else wouldn't matter, but this would matter.
Right.
And so you use it against them. Even if it's a rumor you picked up in the CIA, you promote the daylights out of it, and you make sure that that is disinformation that is, whether it's disinformation or not,
right.
You use it against the regime. Anything to destabilize what might be going on right now.
And if there is anything that could destabilize it, again, it doesn't have to be true. It only has to be widely believed.
Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Well, we know that. We know that in modern day politics, even in the United States.
Oh, man.
It doesn't have to be true. It just has to be believed. Russia collusion.
Russia collusion. The Russia collusion hoax. It just has to be. And that was, in fact, that was the very Clinton-esque touch that Hillary put on that. Because there was technically an FBI investigation going on when she went to the leftist media and said, hey, the FBI is looking into Trump working with the Russians, because at that time they were, only because she fed the FBI false information. She didn't tell them that part, but there was technically, that was the whole thing, is that, well, the FBI is looking into it. And then all of a sudden, now you've got the liberal activist media. That's all they need. Right, they don't need any truth.
Right, that the FBI was investigating the fact that Trump was communicating with the Russians through Alpha Bank.
Right.
And that was all fed by the Hillary campaign through the lawyers to the FBI. Yeah. It wasn't true
It wasn't true at all.
And then she said, see, the FBI is investigating that Trump's ties to Alpha Bank. Oh, yeah, you created that.
Yeah, you're the reason they're investigating that. You created the lie, and they're investigating what turned out to be a lie.
And think about that. In American history, she has never done an interview where she has been confronted with that, where everyone knows it's fact, and no one in the mainstream media will ever do an interview with her and get her in an interview, and even when she doesn't think it's going to come up from a friendly interviewer where they bring it up. That probably hasn't happened in American history, because you think about it, probably one of the biggest presidential race political scandals in American history, where one candidate attempted to set up another candidate with the complete lie that basically the other candidate had committed treason, and had it so specific as to these things that happened that they created the entire lie to set him up. And she's never been confronted with it, ever.
And you notice, because you bring up a very interesting
Why hasn't
point.
she ever been confronted in
because she hasn't made any appearances except for on MS Now.
Why are the Republicans concerned about Epstein and not bringing her forth on those?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it is a massive. If you talk about the fraud that was involved, the level of manipulation at the highest level, as a former Secretary of State who had every door open for her still at that point, and was, of course, running for president, a former First Lady, she had access to people at every level in order to create such a hoax, and she did.
And our intelligence agencies and the FBI knew she was going to do it.
Yes.
They knew she was going to try to set up Trump.
Yes, we know that now.
It's like unbelievable. And it's like, guys, why haven't you ever pulled her in?
Right.
And questioned her about this?
Right.
Epstein, she wasn't involved in it. Why do you care about she is? Bring her. Think about it. Watergate was like amateur hour.
Yes.
I mean, it was nothing. It was a nothing burger compared to what Hillary and the DNC attempted to do to set up Trump.
That was the equivalent of Bill Mack, or I'm sorry, Bill Mack, our old friend Bill Mack. Bill Clinton going to McDonald's and stealing somebody's fry.
Yeah.
That I know was an SNL bit and not real life. But that's how small that was.
Was it?
Yeah. Probably not. That's a good point. No, but it was the equivalent of taking one of somebody's fries, sitting next to you, compared to what the Hillary scandal was. And how many different laws that were broken. And what did the one lawyer that actually went to trial, and the jury came back and said, yeah, well, no, we know he lied to the FBI.
Yeah, it was the only juror that went online and said, well, it doesn't matter whether he lied. There are bigger problems.
There are bigger problems.
It was like, wow.
Yeah, there are bigger crimes than lying to the FBI.
Massive jury nullification.
Oh, my gosh. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And so,
And so we're just trying to make the point that if in the United States, you can completely set up someone with the basis of nothing being the truth at all in it, which was Trump and Russia collusion. Nothing was true. It was all false. There was no colluding with the Russians at all. And you can create a drama and a paranoia that existed in the Democratic Party where still today you and I are saying, what if they did a poll with Democrats today? How many Democrats would still believe? Because it was over 50% a few years ago that still believed that Russia collusion happened.
Long after it was disproven.
Then in a paranoid society like Iran inside their government, especially now, this type of rumor that, the new Ayatollah is gay?
Yeah.
Whoa!
There's no way to disprove that. There's no way to undo this. Because too many people will they will be at different levels of belief. Some will disbelieve it always. Then some will believe it could be true, which means they've opened the door, and in their mind they're wondering. And then others will believe it's true, and that will be the level. It's almost like the Epstein thing. If you came out and proved anything, or you came out with a bunch of information that disproved all this or that, it wouldn't matter. There would still be a group of people saying, well, no, it's a cover-up. In this case, it's kind of the opposite. No, they can say he's not, but I think he is.
It actually got reversed.
Yes.
It got reversed because it was Trump, and we're gonna destroy the Democrats on Epstein, destroy the Democrats on Epstein, destroy the Democrats on Epstein.
Yeah.
Trump takes over.
Yeah.
The Department of Justice said, no, there's nothing there with
There's
Epstein.
nothing there.
The Democrats reversed it. The Republicans are trying to hide something. And then the Republicans are out there going, but you didn't cover it for 4 years. So if you didn't go after Trump for this, there's nothing there. And it doesn't matter whether the truth now is out there or not. It's never going to be resolved.
Exactly.
It's like the Kennedy assassination.
Right.
You're never going to come to a conclusion.
Exactly. Ever.
Bigfoot. We are Red Eye Radio.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
Notable news from USDA's latest monthly meat production and price forecast. World Agricultural Outlook Board Chair Mark Jekanowski says first,
beef production. This month we lowered 110 million pounds.
Based on recent slowdown in slaughter rates. U.S. beef production is also forecasted lower year over year. Pork production, meanwhile,
kind of holding steady with where we were in February.
With updates expected in late March from USDA's quarterly hogs and pigs report. Broiler production is up month over month and year over year, while turkey production forecasts are lowered from the prior month based on hatchery data and
some lingering impacts of HPAI culling that has cut into the production outlook to some degree.
Meat prices, meanwhile, mostly rose from the previous month, with broilers the lone exception, as USDA forecasts a 1% per pound decline in broilers in March. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
Get in touch with Red Eye Radio, toll free at 866-90-RED-EYE.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. I'm waiting for the Washington Post or New York Times headline tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, and talks about that if they believe that it's true that the new Ayatollah is gay, that this shows that the homophobic Trump administration is trying to use this against the Iranian leadership, and it shows their liberalism and their tolerance for having a gay Ayatollah, and that the Iranian government and the Iranian society over the last 50 years is actually a lot more advanced society than the Trump administration is leading the United States.
Well, then the liberals would be very outspoken against going after Iran. You know, if it tends, and the irony of not that there's anything wrong with that, is a line that came from a show focused on a guy who happens to be Jewish and supports Israel.
Seinfeld, yes.
Wow. Seriously. And you guys wonder if we love our... I mean, there's just so many stories out there that they're just have so many different levels of intrigue in today's world.
I know.
I can't imagine doing anything else.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Relief Factor Studios.
And I'm Gary McNamara along with Eric Harley. Coming up in just a minute and a half or so, I think I know what the compromise is going to be on the whole Department of Homeland Security funding. I think I know.
Okay.
I saw a headline yesterday and said, I think I know what it's going to be.
Okay. I can't wait to hear this. Are you one of those people that worries about things out of your control? Lots of things in the world today are out of our control. It can be frustrating. There is one thing within your control. That is controlling your pain with Relief Factor. I know this because I've done it. I wouldn't be endorsing this product if I didn't see it for myself. I'm getting those results, and I want you to get the same results. There are so many things in life that you can't control. You can control your pain with Relief Factor. It's a 100% drug-free, research-based formula. 4 key ingredients going to work to help the body's natural inflammatory response function. Wow, 100 million Americans suffer from ongoing pain. Don't be one of those anymore. Put Relief Factor in your life. Start with their 3-week quick start. Just $19.95. Visit ReliefFactor.com or call 800-4-RELIEF. ReliefFactor.com or 800-4-RELIEF. Use Red Eye at the drop-down for your 3-week quick start at $19.95.
When I saw the headline yesterday that said, and I think it was Fox, change of tone here. It goes, Democrats now saying they want DHS funded. They're ready to vote for funding it, but they won't fund ICE. And I went, well, they don't have to fund ICE. ICE is already funded.
Right.
And I went, wow, that's their out.
That's their out.
I think that's where they're going to go. That we will fund all of the Department of Homeland Security, but we will not vote to fund ICE. Well, you don't need to vote to fund ICE. It's already funded, but that's how they'll get out of it.
And that's what they'll use when they're campaigning, because they believe that their rank and file is stupid.
Right.
And won't look into the fact that
it's already funded.
It's already funded.
Yeah.
No, I think that's it.
When I saw,
I think that's it.
When I saw it was, I think it was like something like change of direction. Fox had it, and it was like Schumer and other Democrats now in the Senate saying that they are willing to vote and fund the Department of Homeland Security, just not ICE.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, well, you don't have to fund ICE; it's already funded.
Right.
That's been the entire point the entire time. You actually, if they do that, they make the Republicans' point, but it doesn't matter. They believe the people that vote for them remember now.
Yeah.
And we came up with this a couple of weeks ago. And this was all because you had both Gavin Newsom and Bernie Sanders come out and say, we don't know how to get a birth certificate. We have no idea how to get a birth certificate. Now they're lying.
Yeah.
Of course they know how to get a birth certificate. They could not be in the positions where they are. They couldn't travel the way they travel. They couldn't go around the world like they do unless they knew how to find their birth certificates. They're lying, but we have figured for 2026, the Democrats have come up with a new philosophy, a new campaign philosophy. We're stupid.
Yeah.
You're stupid.
Yeah.
We're the stupid people that represent the stupid people.
That's it.
they finally realized that they're going to be called racist if they continue to sit there and say minorities are idiots. They don't know how to do anything.
Right. Yeah.
So they've got to change, and so their new changes. All right, we've got to not be. We can't come across as racist, even though we are. That's identity politics.
Mm-hmm.
But if we continue to say that minorities are too stupid and don't have the capability to do simple tasks that Americans are doing, that the response is going to be racism, which it already is from conservative people that are minorities.
Mm-hmm.
They've already said that you're being racist about this. They've come up with a new thing. Wow. We don't need oppressors anymore. The only oppressor is the Republicans because they're smart.
Not like everybody says.
Right. They're smart. We're idiots.
Yeah.
And we're the idiots protecting the idiots.
Yeah.
And so we're all victims, and the only oppressor are the smart Republicans who think they're smart.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're dumb, and we're representing the dumb Americans out there because we're dumb too.
Yeah.
And
even the band Green Day thinks people are that Americans are idiots.
Right, exactly. Right. See, Green Day.
See?
Exactly.
Another liberal example.
And so, yeah, they can sit there and they can think, well, that's what we do. That's how we get out of it. We simply say, we're funding the Department of Homeland Security, but not one Democrat has voted for funding ICE. And then Republicans go, well, yeah, because it's funded already. It doesn't matter. That's how they get out of it.
Right.
I don't see another way out of it. I don't, you see what's going on now, and it's not just all because of the TSA, because I know in some airports you can get through. In some airports, it's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, for example, you just keep seeing it every day. It's like 4 a.m. at Austin.
Yeah.
I already told my sister, I said, if it's this bad, they don't settle this by the time it's my father's 100th birthday, I may not be able to make it in.
Mm. Yeah.
Because you can get to the airport.
Right.
It all depends what it might be. That's another 3 weeks, I think, from now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that with the weather, you go on social media. I was getting frustrated yesterday. I couldn't find out the news that was going on because every other person on Twitter was somebody who was stuck from somewhere saying, hey, American Airlines, hey, Southwest, hey, United, hey, whoever is left out there.
Yeah.
We've been here for 24 hours. And then there was a story of saw a cheerleading group or something. I don't know where they're from, a cheerleading group somewhere. They're like 50 of them are, they're looking for donations because they had a cheerleading thing in Florida and they can't get out. And they don't know when they can get out because of the horrible weather that we're having. By the way, we have a freeze warning tonight. And by this weekend, it could be 95 to 100.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why I posted on X. I posted on X, global warming, global cooling, global warming, cooling, warming, warming, cooling, golfing.
Yeah. Yeah, 95.
Yeah. That may be too hot for me to golf.
I got a big reunion coming up with my buddies from Del Rio this weekend.
Oh, really? That's
and the guy who owns the place we're going to be at somehow knew like a month ago that we were going to have freezing temps because then it showed that this past weekend we were going to have freezing temps. And he said, that's probably a little cold. We'll make it the next weekend, right? The weekend of the 20th. It's like 95 degrees. We're a bunch of old guys. I mean, we're all roughly 60, and it's like there's only so much you're going to be able to do like in 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Now, we're going to be in the shade with the smoker going and, hanging out. We'll be fine. But 95 degrees, maybe even higher.
But you see, with all the weather traveling on top of the TSA, and then you see that the TSA people are going to food banks, and then I would think it was Cornyn that was trying to bring food to the TSA, agents.
Right.
That's campaigning, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
And so you see all this going on, and I'm like, I saw Trump. Let me play this. Let me play this audio cut from Trump. This is a reporter asking him about that 80% of Department of Homeland Security terrorism investigators are working without pay, not just TSA, but those investigators for the Department of Homeland Security who aren't getting paid. Here's that back and forth.
Okay. Mr. President, Mary Barrett with Daily Wire, not CNN. We just wanted to ask about DHS, still not funded, but we reported earlier today that 80% of the primary task force that focuses on investigating terrorism is working without pay. So should that impact Democrats' decision to
The
fund
Democrats aren't paying. The Democrats, we have a deal. They just said we're not going to pay. We're not going to do anything, and it's terrible. The Democrats are terrible. You know, it'd be nice to get along, but for years this has been going on, not just with me. For years it's been going on. Different ideology, but also different tactics. Here we are, we're fighting big battles with a very tough enemy and winning nicely. And we're not allowed to have security in our country. It's crazy.
You can't win that. You can't win when it's out there. When you're talking to independents, say, well, look, ICE is already funded through 2029. What are you doing? You're just keeping it so Americans aren't protected. Yeah. Why are you doing this? Why are you inconveniencing Americans? And somebody brought this up the other day. I forgot who brought it up to Democrats. Was it on the Sunday morning news shows, maybe? Just popped into my mind now. And it was to Democrat. You already won. Kristi Noem is gone.
Yeah.
They say, now, the thing is, they know that Home is just working and still, going after people. And it doesn't matter that, if you're somebody who is illegally working in this country. I brought you that story about what happened at they're building the new Buffalo Bills stadium. Mm-hmm. They found 5 people, ICE, that were working illegally. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether they were criminals or not, but they overstayed their visas, and is the allegation. And if so, they're gone. Right. So he's still doing it. He's just not doing it. And I really believe, truly believe, that Miller and Noem thought they wanted the public confrontations on the street. They thought that would get the public behind them. And it had the opposite effect.
Yeah.
But they were asked, they said, look, you won. I forgot who was being asked the question. You won. Kristi Noem's gone.
Yeah, right.
Homan's taking over.
Right.
You saw the head of the Border Patrol resigned or retired.
Yeah, he's retiring after nearly 30 years. He's basically the chief patrol agent. So he's the chief in the field, basically.
And the whole point is independent. You want to win this with independent. Independents are going, well, look, they've changed everything.
Yeah.
They're doing what we want them to do, with Holman up there. Because you don't hear any criticism now. Yeah. Have you heard any criticism of Holman at all?
No.
Nothing. No. Not one.
No.
It's like, so independents look at it and go, well, what are you doing? ICE is already funded till 2029. You're just hurting people. Why are you hurting people?
Yeah, Greg Bovino.
Yeah.
Yeah, who was very present during the whole Minnesota thing, reassigned. He's commander, served as commander at large. So basically in the field, he's the commander.
Right. And he's retired, right?
And he's retiring after nearly 30 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you won. Why are you doing this? What's the point? ICE is already funded. Yeah, and so you're simply doing this. And so I think that after I saw that I saw the headline yesterday, and it was like, Democrats now coming out. They're changing their tune. And they're saying, we want to fund, we want to get a vote, and we wish to fund DHS, but we're not going to fund ICE. Well, all you have to do is vote not to fund ICE.
Right, yeah.
Because they're funded already.
They're already funded, and there's no pain, and you still get to claim victory.
And I think that's what probably they will do. And then just believe that, look, our whole philosophy is we're stupid. Well, that's sort of stupid. Yeah, well, we're stupid because we're the stupid leading the stupid. We're the stupid party leading the stupid is the narrative now that Democrats are promoting.
Yeah.
We're not calling them stupid. That's what they're communicating to their constituents. I want to make that clear.
Yeah. Right.
Now, I believe the Democrats are lying when they're saying that they're stupid and don't know how to get a birth certificate and don't know, really what's going on and don't know how to explain any issue out there. They can't explain any issue because nobody will buy what they're attempting to sell.
No.
So they just pretend we're Democratic Party. We're the party of stupid leaders leading stupid people.
Yep. I mean, there's no better, and honestly, it's so, that is so a Schumer move, right? Isn't it?
I know.
I mean, it fits the entire party, but that is right out of Chuck's playbook.
Let's see if we're right.
Let's see.
I think we were right on the last one.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I think we're pretty close on the last one.
I think this will be.
Yeah.
I think this will be what they do.
We'll see how close we are.
Yeah.
We are Red Eye Radio.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. The only question would be, how long did I say Eric Harley?
I don't know.
I don't think I said it. I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley.
Yeah.
It's. I don't want to have people believe that I'm ignoring you.
Yeah.
I just I wanted to get out this statement.
I'm
before
ignoring
the end of the hour.
so I wouldn't care.
I just don't know how long Democrats will hold out on it, but I do think that's where they're going to go. And I just saw the headline saying Democrats now saying they wish to fund, because even after their vote last Thursday, Slotkin came out and said, well, no, we wish to fund DHS. And I went, okay, here's the beginning of it. And then over the weekend, you saw more of it, and then Fox had the story yesterday.
Yeah.
Democrats changing tune.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, we'll see. But when they said we wish to fund DHS, but we're not going to vote to fund ICE, I'm like, well, you can do that.
Yeah, right.
You know, you're still. I mean, ICE is funded.
Yeah.
Jeffries
is, according to thehill.com, Jeffries is looking to force the vote on DHS funding without ICE and CBP. Okay.
They're funded.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was the other story that I saw. Thank you for bringing that one up.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, they're.
Okay. All right. Great. Which, by the way, is them on record fighting to reopen the borders as well.
Yes.
Think about that.
Yeah.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.